Well, hello, my beautiful Aquarians. Welcome to my channel. This is Baba Jolie here with your twin flame reading for the end of July, right through the end of August 2025. I've already cleansed your space and have meditated on your cards. For those of you who are returning, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for all your wonderful likes, shares, and subscribes. I am truly grateful for all your beautiful energy. Just a little reminder though, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one reading, just so you're aware. Also, please be mindful, scammers are about, pretending to be me and lots of other tarot readers. I do not do personal readings, and I will never reach out to you personally to offer one. Also, I will never ask you for money, e-gifts, or donations. So if anyone masquerading as me asks for anything at all, please report them or ignore them. It is a scam, okay? Let's move straight on with your reading. Now, you may notice the Gaia chimes have been reinstated, so please be mindful to turn down your volume if you are someone who is sensitive to sound, okay? So let us begin. Okay, my beautiful Aquarians, this is your twin flame reading for those twins who are currently in separation. The first pile will be your pile, the second pile will be your person's pile, and the third pile will be the unified energy of how things come together. Also, worth noting that if anyone is mentally, physically, or emotionally abusive, that is not a twin flame connection. That is more likely to be a false flame connection, and that will drain you of your beautiful love and waste your wonderful time. The difference between the two, of course, very fine line, but false flames will trigger you without any evolution. No desire to focus on your sense of purpose. Lessons are not being learnt. There's no growing from the situation. It will just repeat a cycle, okay? So that is the difference. I want you to be aware of that. Also, I don't know if you noticed with the Gaia chimes there was this off-key note that kept being played, okay? It kept coming back to this one note. So you may feel like you and your twin, it's just one note. There's a sense of being out of alignment. Perhaps there's something off right now, off kilter in this connection. But also there was a quiet lament, a sadness, like, well, this is the journey and it is hard. It's challenging, it's isolating, it's lonely. So I'm sending you a huge hug out there and so much love. Let's see how your relationship is at this moment in time and the energy that you're moving through. Also, please look up online what it means to be in a twin flame connection. There's a lot out there about what it is to be in a twin flame dynamic. And although when you meet your twin, it is an otherworldly experience. It is magnetic. You're drawn to your person almost obsessively at first. You can't stop thinking about them and vice versa. They also feel the same. But whilst it is a wonderfully intense and physical relationship, the twin flame journey has a purpose. It's more of a spiritual awakening rather than an actual physically romantic relationship. It's a process that prepares both parties, both twins, to release lower vibrational energy that keeps you and your twin stuck in either fear, addictive patterns, unhealthy attachments, and it's a very intense inner vibrational transformation, but is a personal journey of discovery, and it is one that must be done alone, okay? Both parties trigger each other in order to discover your sense of purpose and embrace unconditional love for self, and only then can a reunion process really take place and also be sustainable. Now, twin flames are here to awaken each other, to stand in their primal power, to elevate in consciousness towards a reunion, okay? And also, You hold yourself to higher standards, erecting healthier boundaries, but also it's a formed sacred union as a result of shared difficulty and pain. Your twin will reflect back to you your greatest strengths, but also your greatest weaknesses. Their presence is literally to amplify areas of your life that can be healed and promote personal growth and transformation. All the stuff that has gone on before you meet your twin, whether that's heartbreak, sadness, trauma, challenge, struggle, whatever it is that perhaps has left unsaid in your life, something that perhaps you need to address, to process and heal, well, the twin flame dynamic will amplify it by mirroring it back to you. So, there tends to be a runner, a chaser, and a separation period, which is not always typical to form, but it tends to be the norm. So when I say it's an inner vibrational transformation that leads to a journey of self-discovery that must be done alone, there tends to be a rite of passage in a twin flame dynamic where both parties are separate in order to process the stuff. But it is a mirrored experience. And what I mean by that is when your twin looks at you, okay, they see all the things within themselves that they've been running away from their whole life, the avoidance. Because the twin flame dynamic is exposing. You really see the depth of a person. It is a very all-consuming, loving relationship where unconditional love, especially if a person has been hurt in the past, they tend to avoid it. They don't trust it. But of course, the twin who is the chaser will persist and highlight their consistency and their loyalty in a relationship. And of course, the dynamic needs to be separate on purpose in order for both parties to learn to erect healthier boundaries, but also to love themselves fully and focus on their divine purpose, because twins tend to have a mission in life. So if there's codependency, trust issues, insecurities, self-loathing, and sometimes addictions in a twin flame dynamic, these are things that existed before you even met your twin, but they are triggered and amplified so that you cannot ignore them. Okay? And of course, twins, they illuminate the shadows that prevent us from loving ourselves fully. They peel back the layers, and it can be a very challenging dynamic. Not everybody gets to be with their twin in each lifetime, of course. And it's worth noting as well that you should never wait for your twin, because that will perpetuate a cycle of repeat. I always explain twin flames like magnets, both identical to the very core in the frequency. So the very soul of you, there is a match of frequency with your person. That's why it is a very intense relationship, because there's no one like them. They don't connect to anyone else like they connect to you, and vice versa. There's no one else out there who shares your frequency, as it were. But those identical magnets, you are the magnet and your person is the magnet. We're all energy fields interacting with our environment. So if you think about both magnets being identical in polarities, there is a push and pull. They attract each other, but also repel each other. There is that space in between. And that space in between is there on purpose, because there's something preventing both parties from connecting. And that's the stuff. The stuff that needs to be healed. And of course, when you have the chaser being one magnet that decides to stop chasing, stop thinking about their person, pool all their time, energy, resources, love, and devotion inwards and onto their spiritual path, that's when you change the frequency within yourself. So if you're the chaser, of course, this will be that you are now stepping back in order to focus on your higher calling, which you have there. This is your card, your pile there. Then you affect change. You are the catalyst for change in your connection. Suddenly your person will start to try and step up and heal and really stop avoiding their feelings and become more emotionally available for the relationship. Because looking at your person, they want the happy ever after. However, we have the Seven of Swords here, so there is still an energy of avoidance going on there, or a trust issue at the very core. I would suggest looking at your person's cards that this person has had trust issues that perhaps have been projected onto them from their parents, because we have two parental type figures here. These are divine counterparts, so of course this is how they feel about you. They see that, they want a long-term relationship with you. They see you as a divine match. There's something about you that they've thought about a happy ever after with. I mean, they want to settle down with you. Ten of Cups means they're truly happy with you. And yes, they may have sought, love in lots of different places in life, but they've never found a love that matches the vibration that you offer. So this person, I feel, is questioning this at this moment in time and is in a period where they are learning unconditional love for self so that they can mature and so that they can create a platform for a healthy love to come on in. Okay, but looking at the energy of the outcome, we've got a Seven of Swords. So this can also indicate that there is a trust issue, someone who is afraid to start again. But looking at the energy, because you've got a very independent card with that Nine of Pentacles, I feel like you can't do this anymore. You're exhausted. You're fed up. Yes, you're focused on your sense of purpose, but the Tower indicates you're shocked to your very core with this relationship. And of course, you are open to higher frequencies because a lightning bolt hits a tower in order to affect change, as it were. So I feel like you have gone through a rude awakening in this connection where suddenly you're hit with so much information. Like, you met your twin, you know that you're in love with that person, you know that this person's your destiny, but at the same time, you find yourself navigating this journey alone and being very independent. You're someone who's very strong, self-assured. Nine of Pentacles indicates you're having a personal glow up as well. You're on a pathway to focus on your projects, but also to solidify your future, build wealth, for example, and really nurture yourself in a different way, but independently at this time. Your person is still called to be with you. They are in love with you. So if you're questioning that, but looking at the higher calling, you're aware that the twin flame dynamic is a spiritual awakening. It's making you question a lot of things. You feel called to be with this person, but at the same time, looking at the Tower, I feel like you're breaking down all that is not authentic and true in your life right now, removing drama from your life, removing inconsistencies. Anyone who is not investing in any sort of dynamic with you, you are pulling back at this time and relying on yourself. You're stepping away. You're focused on your true calling, your true mission. So that means you are the catalyst for change. You literally are breaking a cycle repeat in this connection. The Tower is to tear down any repetitive cycles, own your truth, drive out the old in order to rebuild. So a lot of you, you may feel like you've been holding on to this for so long, and now you're like letting it go. You're letting it crumble where it's at. And that's really important because this is where, you start to rebuild the twin flame dynamic. When you can't do this anymore, that's when real growth happens. You're tired of holding on to something that is not sustainable or, just brings a lot of chaos into your life. And when the Tower energy, this can indicate that you've been broken down or shocked by this, but now you feel a need to liberate yourself. I mean, the Tower, I always see it as like a prison. It's not a negative card. It highlights where you're feeling stuck. That if you are locked in something that at first felt comfortable, and then you started to become not used to a cycle, but you started to be aware that there is a cycle repeat playing out in your twin flame dynamic, and you may be trying to navigate that, try different ways of approaching it, but it still ends up in the same way. I feel with that Tower, you're like, enough. You're like literally leaping out of this Tower because you feel it's better to change, take a leap of faith, and remove yourself from a situation than remain stuck in it, because it feels like you're going to keep going round and round in the same pattern forever and nothing ever changes. So this Tower, it really highlights that you are having major downloads, epiphanies, realizations, revelations about self as well, and about your true life mission and calling, and you're basically letting go. I mean, the Tower is also to isolate. It is to remove one's energy, to be a tower of power, get closure on something. But also we have that Nine of Pentacles. So you're doing you at this time because you're fed up. You can't do this anymore. I feel like there is an energy here of trying to protect yourself against this relationship because you feel that you've done everything you could in order to heal it, to hold on to it. The cracks were showing, and I feel like you're tired, you're exhausted, broken down by this whole experience. But also there is a quiet strength in that as well, because this card indicates that you're stronger than the struggle in the union. I mean, looking at your person's energy, There's definitely a trust issue here. And sometimes, you know, it's important to acknowledge that without trust, there is no foundation. So you may be realizing that no matter what you've done to try and, you know, create a foundation of trust for this union and be consistent, you know, there is always this fear that's going to tear it down. So I feel there's this energy here with that Nine of Pentacles of you being fabulous, focusing on yourself, trying to learn more about who you are, being really discerning with your energy. You know, you're not giving to this anymore. If you know the Nine of Pentacles, especially in the traditional Rider-Waite Tarot, I mention this and reference this because it really gives you an indication about the meaning of the card. And, you know, the Nine of Pentacles sees a person, you know, with a bird, of course, just like this. But also there are 6 pentacles on one side and she's got her hand on those 6 of pentacles. Like, this energy is mine. You know, I'm prioritizing me now. I'm giving more back to me. The 3 of Pentacles over there, she's not touching them, she's giving them away. It's like, okay, I'm going to invest this much energy into this. So you may be thinking about this person from time to time, but you're certainly not reaching out to this person. I feel like you are being stricter with yourself. You know, this relationship caused you a lot of pressure, and I feel there's this energy of like trying to hold on and not reach out or not message this person. It's been hard, it's been really tempting, but I feel like you're doing a great job right now because actually you are the catalyst for change. You know, things will continue if you do not change. And I feel like you are taking it upon yourself to change. And you may shock this person next time they reach out, because I do feel there is some sort of communication here, something that perhaps you'll be a little bit fed up with because it feels still a little bit wishy-washy. You know, we change a cycle and the energy flips. So you become the runner at some point. Both parties need to walk in each other's shoes to some degree. I mean, we can never truly do that, but it is a cycle of understanding. So there is this energy of pushing back with a twin. When I met my twin, you know, I was, you know, very broken. You know, I had actually been destroyed in a previous relationship. So when I met my twin, I was certainly not looking for love. And also I was afraid of love. I thought, well, love just destroyed me. So what is this? It was so all-consuming. It was something that I'd never experienced before. And I had claimed to be in love before, but there was nothing like my twin, nothing like a divine union. But still, I was scared. So I pushed back, you know, out of fear. I didn't want to lose my person, but at the same time, I found it really hard to articulate feelings from a very unhealed and unhealthy place. I had to relearn a lot of things because I was in a cycle of repeat. The very foundation of me also had a trust issue. So there was a lot going on there. And what I'm trying to highlight is there's no blame game. I'm not trying to take any sides, but humans are very complex and they make certain decisions based on how they feel inside. Okay. And these things are present before you even meet your twin. So I pushed my twin away and, you know, of course, emulated the cycle that a twin flame does, separation period, rite of passage. My twin kept coming in trying to, you know, love me, but I couldn't be loved because I couldn't love myself, and I couldn't offer love because there was a lot of self-loathing based on a previous experience that I needed to heal and not run away from. But eventually my twin backed away. They started focusing on their own purpose. And of course, in that breath that we were both given, we found a way to heal ourselves and each other. And then I came seeking, of course, not to just come back in and just like mess up their life or anything, just to try and reach out and be like, okay, you know what? I have processed some things that have been holding me back. And if you would like to like explore this, I'm open to it. And my twin was like, no. It's highlighted a lot of things within me that I need to work on too, and I'm not ready. So therefore, rather than just rushing into things, it gave a space, a breath, in order to maturely discover our way. And of course, the universe made sure that there were moments in our lives where we just bumped into each other. So in like a city of millions of people, I would just bump into my twin. And the universe was saying, well, like, try now. Your frequencies are changing. You're learning about yourself. My point being, what is meant for you will never pass you by. The universe will always orchestrate a meeting between your twin. So never wait for your twin, because they have a path to discover a way back to themselves, their authentic self, and you are living in your authenticity with these cards. So I see that you're being true to yourself, erecting healthier boundaries, nurturing yourself in a different way, and trying to have a more fruitful life. And you may be isolating yourself or restricting yourself to make sure that you don't connect to your twin, because you feel that they are unhealed or they're not willing or able to offer you the love that you truly deserve and desire at this moment in time. Don't get me wrong, I don't feel like, you don't have feelings for this person. Of course you do. You haven't shut them off, but it's important to recognize that when the moment is right, the universe will surprise you. And you have that Four of Cups there. So this can indicate that divine intervention has kind of like prioritized a pause on purpose so that you and your person are protected in order to focus on your sense of purpose. You're in your purpose right now, is what I'm seeing. Your person is learning unconditional love for self, and they're healing a generational wound because they've got parental figures here as well. So I feel this is going to transform the dynamics in the relationship and highlight a blockage in this connection that can be surpassed, it can be removed, but it is going to be a process. Four Cups tells me that out of the blue, this person is going to message you just when you're feeling like you can't feel them anymore, because there is an unwritten, unspoken, and invisible bond, a psychic bond between you both that has you feel this person. You can feel them before they message you, and vice versa. How you're feeling is also reflected in how they feel. So if you're ever wondering, does this person love you? Do they have feelings for you? Was it love? Is it a twin flame dynamic? The answer is yes. A lot of you may be questioning whether twin flames are real, or you're trying to be like super real with yourself. And of course, always do the investigation. Some people believe in twin flames, some people don't, but you may be exploring such a depth of a connection between you and this person that it is not typical to form. So therefore, the twin flame dynamic is two flames, of course, that merge as one. You're both separate, you're both whole, all by yourself. You're not searching for your other half, because that will always make you feel empty, like there is part of you that's missing. There is nothing missing, and that's the twin flame dynamic lesson. You must learn that you are whole all by yourself, and that your twin is a welcome addition to your life. Okay, so there's always a lesson in twin flame dynamics. I feel there is a trust issue at the core of this person that you're dealing with, and I feel that it has played out in this relationship. We do have creativity. This is the Empress energy, so I feel this is all about your person exploring their family lineage, nourishing themselves in a different way, learning to love themselves, because of course, insecurities and trust issues are often byproducts of someone who does not feel worthy of love or has a trust issue. So I feel this person is blossoming. They are going through a process. I feel actually they will be more creative as well. I feel this person realizes they took too long to really identify the root cause of what prevented them from really surrendering to love. And they will discuss this with you in the future. But we've got the Ten of Cups. This person does want the happy ever after. They dream of this. And they must be aware that, of course, they need to submerge themselves in their feelings to acknowledge what it is that has been, having them out of sync or preventing them from being in the flow of love. Because this person is trying to lead with love now, to be emotionally available so they can attain, a higher love. I feel you're in the higher calling and they are seeking the higher love. I don't know if you saw the candle. You probably didn't. There's a bit of a barrier there, but the candle just wavered real quick. So this is like a thumbs up from my guide saying, yes, this person is in higher love energy right now where they want to surrender to true love. And they realize that there was some attachments there that bound them. Okay, and for some of you, it's like there's a self-sabotage here. It's not that they were game playing, okay, but I feel this person had some unhealthy attachments that prevented them from settling down. I mean, the Emperor energy does indicate that they're maturing. There's two Emperors in this deck, okay? This highlights the energy of the Emperor. And this person, their energy was all about control. And they felt controlled by their attachments. So whether this is an attachment to a parental wound figure of pain, as it were. So for example, if their parents divorced, because we got the Ten of Cups there, which is all about marriage, settling down. If they divorced and it was turbulent, or whether it was, a very abusive relationship, that's their first foundation of what it means to love. And they're attached to that narrative of what love can lead to. So it can be that they're hesitant to get into a relationship that will last the test of time because they've come from a foundation where it didn't last or love leaves in some way. I feel there is this energy, and I'm going to pull a card on it. Very austere environment, very controlling environment, very emotionally manipulative environment. And of course, I'm not here to play the blame game or let anyone off the hook. Everyone needs to take accountability for their actions. But I feel this person has been holding on to something that they feel would play out in their relationship. So they kind of like decided to not be a lone wolf, because I feel like this person does crave to be in a relationship. But at the same time, I feel this person realizes that it's an interesting energy that's coming through. It's almost like they resign themselves to the fact that one day they will just realize that they're always meant to be single or independent, or they're just like not going to commit, take a vow, as it were, of non-committal. I'm not sure. I'm just being given this energy. Yeah, we got the Fool card and the Hermit. I mean, that's literally the energy that I'm picking up on, actually. The Hermit is to withdraw. And the Fool card is, of course, no attachments. So I feel this person is trying to learn about their attachments in order to free themselves up. But also I feel these attachments led them to be footloose, fancy-free, even into, maturity with that Hermit. The Hermit is often displayed as like an elderly gentleman who is removing themselves from society because they just don't align with that way of thinking, or they feel like they're fed up. There's a lot of challenge, they're exhausted, and they just need to be away from that sort of thing. So I feel this person has almost like allowed their attachments to fear or to whatever it is they witnessed in their childhood play out in their life. And these two cards highlight, because the Fool card is always the foundation of you. It means the very beginning, right from the very beginning, this person witnessed something where they felt really jaded, because the Hermit is present, really jaded with the idea of love. They've been soul searching, seeking. And I feel like they've been seeking for a love like yours that was consistent and true. But then they didn't trust it because they have witnessed the breakdown of a loving relationship at some point that got really messy or really painful. And it's like they got caught in the crossfire and they promised themselves they're never going to emulate that. But in that, I feel they have become very alone and very jaded. And I feel this person is acknowledging that their parents or guardians, that was their narrative, that was their story. They were unhealed people bringing up the next generation. So I feel this person is kind of trying to reprogram so that they do not repeat this cycle. They've become aware of it. The Hermit is to be enlightened. It is to go in for knowledge, inwards to self. And the Fool card is an energy of potential. It is, the inner child work. It is an energy of trying to free oneself up and be more playful when it comes to love, and recognize that love can be fun. Love is an incredible experience, but we must, remove the attachments to pain or to addictions or to insecurities, trust issues. It's like this person needs to break the ties with something that controlled them for a very long time. And I would say they have strong influences from a masculine guardian energy or, father figure type energy coming through, where there was a lot of control, subduing feelings, and also absence. I feel that with the energy that perhaps there was some cheating going on in a family dynamic. Secrets is what I'm seeing there. And multiple arguments, game playing, sabotage. And I feel this person, they witnessed this and it kind of destroyed how they felt about love. And they may have told you about this. If they haven't, I feel like they will. But this person is in a nurturing energy right now where they are reflecting on self-love, they're healing, and of course they're on a path that sees them identify these attachments to stop it in its tracks so they can mature and elevate to match a frequency where they can, truly be with you. You're the divine counterpart, of course, because they do have the Emperor and the Empress. So there may be some elements of your relationship that reminded them of their family upbringing, whether this is arguments, whether this is like you being a super independent person. I mean, you can still retain your independence in a relationship and be with a person and commit your life to that person. But I feel there's this energy of breaking down what went before and rebuilding back differently in this connection. So let me just pull a quick card finally on the two of your energies, because I'm wondering if both of you kind of like experience something very similar there. Yeah, Ten of Wands, baggage, holding on to this, carrying this heaviness around, you know, really like challenging endings. Both of you have experienced challenging endings in your life. Now, it doesn't have to be to do with love or family. It can be that, you know, there's a lot of challenge and struggle that both of you have gone through, and you've been protecting yourselves. You're so exhausted by this. You're very strong people, very independent. And it's like you're so independent that you're like, how do I create space for another to share my life with? So I feel there is this energy of feeling resentful for some of the past experiences, but we must not feel resentful. Of course, easier said than done, but it's because we lighten our load karmically if we let go and heal and forgive the past, not to let someone off the hook, but in order to be free of all this heaviness. You know, some of these narratives, if you know the traditional Rider-Waite Tarot, the Ten of Wands, you know, the figure carries clumsily these 10 wands. They're very strong, but some of those wands may not even belong to them. It can be that some of the narratives or the things that we kind of like believe about ourselves are things that people have given us and we've held it. So for example, if this person has been bullied, their self-esteem has been knocked, you know, they may feel when they're getting into a relationship that they're vulnerable because they're exposed. And last time they were exposed in such a monumental way, it can be when people were making fun of them or, you know, ridiculing them, for example, bullying them. So they promise themselves they're going to be so strong, they're never going to allow anyone in, or they're not going to allow anyone to see their true self because they are feeling vulnerable. Also, I feel this person had a lot of responsibility when they were younger. It's like they were the parent at some point. Okay, so again, no kind of like taking sides on this. I feel there is this energy where both of you may have dealt with very similar things, learning very similar lessons, but I do feel that both of you are kind of feeling stuck in a rut with this connection for different reasons. Okay, and there is a need to break through this. You've done it first, you're breaking through, and this is going to trigger this person into this energy so they can mature and open up to their feelings and feel safe in their feelings. Of course, it's going to require strength. You've got the strength card, the strength to change. That's literally what these two cards are. This is the outcome, the strength to transform, the strength to come up for air and to recognize that, you know, a deep dive emotionally, whilst it is a challenging experience, you know, a spiritual awakening is not like a harps and cherubs moment where it's like, aha, I've awakened and everything's wonderful. No, it is literally sorting through the mud of life in order to, you know, become aware of what's been keeping us stuck. So I feel, you know, this card, it literally says maturity on there, and I feel like your person is maturing in their vibration, and I feel they will be strong enough to make the changes in order to come back into a union. But because of the energy, you're in a very independent card energy, okay, with the towers, like you're breaking free. So I would say this Seven of Swords indicates that you're cautious. This person has to show you with action that you can trust a new beginning with them, okay, because this is like hesitancy. It's like, I've been broken before and my heart is delicate. This person is holding a very delicate egg close to their chest. So it's like, love is delicate and you've been broken by this in the past. You've got the Tower. So it's like, how can I trust? You're withdrawing because you're protecting your energy. How can I trust this will not happen again? So with the Death card there, this indicates, you know, creating space for a new beginning that is better than before. This card literally means like breaking bad habits, cycles of repeat. And I feel like both of you are trying to do that across the board. There is going to be change in this connection. You know, the Death card is also a resurrection because things don't truly like end, they change form. So I feel there is an energy here of rebirth, movement and improvement, but also, you know, some sort of like ending of a cycle here, and it stopped with you. So now you're going to see the repercussions of that. I mean, we've got the King of Cups here, of course, which is the highest love that love has to offer. You know, as you can see with this figure, there's a ship. It's on choppy seas, and it got stuck. So I feel there's a lot of love here, but due to turbulent emotions, because water always connects to emotions and feelings, you know, due to turbulent emotions and feelings, this connection stalled, okay? And this person is like hesitant. There is a hesitancy here to launch another ship, as it were. So it can indicate that you or your person had a big love story before you met your twin, and then, of course, a lot of fear, anxiety played out in this connection, but also it can indicate, you know, breaking free from the attachments, because of course the octopus, you know, these are energies of attaching in some way. They can remove the attachments, but they're going to still be hesitant. So I feel this person will try to come towards you with love. They are leading with love. Both of you really want to lead with love, but there's just a lot of hurt here, and there needs to be accountability in this connection before anything can move forward. I mean, you're fed up of this. Four of Cups indicates there were certain expectations that led to disappointment. You're bored of the same old thing, the cycle of repeat, and there's a refusal here. So I feel because your person is in such loving cards and you're in independent cards, doesn't mean you don't love this person, but I feel like you've been there, done that, and you've burnt the t-shirt. You're so fed up with this. So I feel there is a hesitancy because there's still a lot of sadness there. When your person reaches out, I feel you're a little bit more closed off to this. So with the Seven of Swords there, you don't trust this, or you feel like cautious. So let me just pull a card. I mean, the Seven of Swords means there's still a runner present in the union. And because this is the outcome energy and looking at your energy, I feel like you're becoming the runner. For good reason, of course. You are the catalyst for change. But, you know, this is an energy as well of like making an important decision. Do I trust this? You know, I feel in some way there is this energy of betrayal. And I feel it's something that your person has witnessed. You may have witnessed something like this as well, but you transcended the fear. You were open to surrendering to the union, but your person could not at that time. And I feel there's a lot of flipping going on here, a lot of mirroring each other. One minute there is someone coming forward, next minute they're stepping back, and vice versa. So I feel, you know, there is this energy, and this came up briefly in another reading, so it's not specific to all twin flames, but because you have the Seven of Swords, which can be like there is a fear of someone being taken away, you know, with betrayal. I feel there's an analogy that's coming through that's really important. So, for example, if you have like a very expensive item of jewelry, right, like a very expensive watch, shall we say, and you're afraid of losing it or damaging it. So, you know, it's very special and precious. You put it to the side, you put it somewhere safe. You don't interact with it all the time, but you just know it's there. I hate this analogy myself, but, you know, it's something that my guides gave me to highlight that when someone is so afraid to damage, hurt, destroy, or lose, or have it stolen from them, they treat it in a different way. You know, they're very cautious. They keep it like hidden, or they keep it like to the side. They don't visit it all the time. So it's like the twin flame dynamic. When a person sees that they have something really special, and if there's a trust issue, like they feel like they're going to either mess it up or they're going to lose it because they feel like they are not enough to sustain the relationship. And if that gets exposed within their fears that someone else could just come along and take you away from them, for example, that's when they're going to push back and say, okay, this is too precious. I'm not going to interact with this. I'm going to leave that there. So there's something about that with your person where there is such like a, I don't want to say it's an irrational fear, because actually there's no such thing as an irrational fear. There's a fear. And it only becomes irrational when we choose to look away and allow it to control our lives. So I feel this person is identifying it right now. And I feel that this person has been protecting their energy Umbrellas tend to represent protection, you know, from the storm. As you can see, choppy seas, a storm is brewing. So it feels like this person protected their feelings because they were afraid that you would be taken away from them or that you would leave them because they felt like they were not enough. And it comes from their upbringing. It comes from something they witnessed in childhood, or maybe even that they experienced themselves, but it's playing out as a fear, as a root cause in this dynamic. Ten of Wands, the baggage and the strength. The strength to lighten the load, the strength to start again, the strength to really try and see what the burdens are in this connection, what this person's been carrying around with them from the very beginning of them, the foundation of themselves. Only then can they let down the load. Now, the Ten of Wands in the traditional Rider-Waite Tarot has that figure very close to home. So they're close to coming home to self so that they can let down the baggage. So it doesn't control them anymore or guide where they need to be. They can actually come home to self, overcome the struggles, and offer a new beginning. But I feel right now, looking at the energy, I'm actually going to pull a card to see if you're going to hear from your person because, oh, this card came away from the deck. So let's see this one. Seven of Wands, a lot of protection, a lot of defensiveness. Okay. There's also this energy of independence, but I'm just going to see if this person's going to reach out in the next 6 weeks, because looking at the energy, I feel like there is a surprise interaction. Can you show me? Oh, we got the Nine of Wands, Wounded Warrior, the Emperor. Okay, so this person, because the Emperor is there, it highlights a maturity that is being activated. It means that, yes, they're aware of a father wound in particular. Okay, Nine of Wands is wounded, so it can be is passed down from generation to generation. They may talk about this with you, but also I feel, you know, the Emperor is important because it's action. It's an action card, someone taking action to reach out. So I feel this person, they will pursue. They're not going to give up on this. I feel like they will message you or have some sort of interaction. It's really interesting because rather than an actual message, I'm being given an interaction. So I'm not really sure what that is giving me. So either you're just going to bump into this person, or it could be that if you're on social media, for example, they kind of like betray themselves because they've been snooping, and they may like by accident heart something belonging to you or something like that, and then it kind of triggers a conversation. I'm just going to see after the 6 weeks. Knight of Wands. Okay, so Knight of Wands has popped out with an Ace of Pentacles. Knight of Wands is a very flirty energy, but it can indicate that this interaction with this person, whilst there is an attempt at a beginning that actually has a lot of potential, the Knight of Wands indicates a very physical interaction that is not sustainable. So because the Seven of Swords is there and the Four of Cups, I feel you and your person will repeat a cycle. But the intention is there with that Ace of Pentacles. So there is going to be some sort of solid message that you get with your person. But I would say, looking at the energy, that you can't kind of like give yourself to this, my beautiful Aquarians, because there's still this question like, your twin could do it again. So you're hesitant this time. So I feel like you're the runner this time, okay? And I feel it's not sustainable on this occasion because there's still a runner here. This is still a runner energy. Knight of Wands indicates people following their passions, determined to try and make things work. So coming from a really good space, but it's not sustainable. You know, the Knight of Wands tends to fizzle out. So I feel the goal is to have a healthy relationship because the Ace of Pentacles is there. The goal is to start again, but from, you know, a foundation that can promote growth in a relationship. But I feel both of you will fall back into a cycle and repeat it. However, that is normally the twin flame dynamic way where you become the runner, they become the chaser, and then you are closer to union. So I'd say you're pretty close to union, but you're not there yet. Okay, so let's see if there are any final conversations regarding this dynamic that you need to be aware of. So these are the conversations that have been left unsaid. We deserve a new beginning. I mean, the Ace of Pentacles came out. I feel that this person is trying to break habits. So I do feel your person does want a new beginning. and they will try and action that at some point. They've also got, I need to trust the way I feel. There is definitely a trust issue here. You could have got any card in this deck, okay? I need this journey to understand my feelings. There's also like, I'm not ready for this. My pride and ego affected this connection, but I picked up on a trust issue there based on that Seven of Swords. So this is about trusting feelings. I distance myself to avoid my feelings. Yeah. So this person has feelings for you on many different levels. And when it's so precious and intense for them, they fear losing, because love has equated loss to this person. They've loved and lost, or they've witnessed love being lost between people. So this person's afraid of loss, of losing you. So in order to retain control, and I know that sounds really counterproductive to the relationship, but people are very complex. In order to protect themselves and retain control, sometimes people push away in order to self-preserve, as it were. Even though they want to be with someone, they want to tell them they love them, but self-preservation wins because they have a trauma response. They have an unhealed response to challenging situations. So they often push back or leave a connection because they're wrestling with something that they don't understand. And it's like they've got these mixed emotions where they love, they have feelings, but they also have fear, resentment, and it's hard, okay? And that's on both sides. So I feel there's a little bit of a pushback, but I'm just going to go and get a final card. My guides said to shuffle again, so I am. Okay, I'm hearing a song now, very famous song by Bon Jovi. I love you, I need you, I'd get down on my knees for you. I think it said there, it went a little bit muffled. If I could have you in my arms tonight. So this is a very famous song. I can't really remember the name of the song. It's probably I love you, I need you, or something like that. But this is playing out right now. So you're either going to hear this song. I'm just being given the first word is commitment. I mean, yeah, in any relationship, the first word is commitment, but maybe the first word in that song is commitment. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to look that up. But what I'm being given is listen out for that song. It may be relevant. You may hear that song. I think it's from the 80s or 90s. When it plays, it's an indication you're going to hear from your person. So we have... Interesting, we've got the climax and the mania love. And I feel that your person has witnessed both of these things in their parental upbringing, the relationship between parents or guardians, or they experience this themselves. Very intense highs and lows. So it says here, the climax, there's anxiety and worries about your bond with your twin. You may be in separation, but if you get through it, you'll emerge stronger than ever. And I feel both of you can emerge stronger than ever. There's a lot of anxiety in this, a lot of fear in this connection. So, this person is governed by anxiety. We've also got mania love, the kind of love that leads into madness and obsessiveness, often wanting to reinforce your own value, which can lead to codependency. Yes. Okay, so again, I feel breaking that cycle is important in the separation period. And finally, we've got the waiting game. How long will you continue to wait? If you find you're not receiving what you want from your twin, it's time to practice self-love and walk away. Exactly what you're doing, because that is the catalyst for change. You must walk away. It's imperative in order to change the dynamics, but also to reinforce your boundaries. You're a person with needs. You are lovable, and you deserve love. And, this is a period of reinforcing that boundary, not only for self-love, but also, some twins decide to cut a cord with their twin and finally walk away and actually move towards a soulmate instead. I do see that you, my beautiful Aquarians, have an option of a soulmate in the future. There's flirtation coming on in for you. Whether you pursue this or not, that's your call. I can see it coming in for you, but you may have to make a choice regarding that. Now I'm just going to go and get a final trinket or rune. We have a puzzle piece. Okay, so missing piece there. And I feel the missing piece is information about this person's past, but also there's an energy here of this person. And this is not going to resonate with all of you, but I'm being given autism, being on the spectrum, okay? Intense highs and lows of emotions. I'm not medically trained to talk about that, but I'm just being given that right now. So perhaps it is a factor in some way regarding your relationship, or maybe it's something you've talked about, you know, the withdrawal of emotions, and perhaps trying to wrestle with emotions in some way, someone who's highly creative, you know. So again, you know, please apply it to your situation. May not resonate, but more than anything, I just feel like there is a missing piece of information that will kind of like put everything together, like slot into place. I mean, both of you, you just fit, but right now you're misaligned because in terms of frequency, you're wrestling with new knowledge and learning to find your way back to self and then to each other. So I'll leave it there. I hope something resonates. Very complex reading, so it may not resonate with everyone. But thank you so much, my beautiful Aquarians, and love and light.